So, hello everyone. My name is Dinashini. So, I will begin by introducing my friends here. We have Fatin Nabila and Fatin Ruby.
Yeah.
So, if there's any difference in my audio or anything, please feel free to tell us. So, we are Unita students.
Okay. Thank you, Dina, for introducing us. I hope we are all are doing well today because I'm honored to introduce our respected guest. She has 25 years of experience as a teacher and 6 years experience in CBA or classroom-based assessment. She is teaching in Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Dato' Abdul Rahman Yaakob in Bota, Perak. Let's welcome Puan Maziah.
Hello, Teacher Maziah. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm fine, and thank you for having me for this interview this evening.
Before we start, I'll just do a very explain of why we are here. So, we were given a task of having an interview with a secondary teacher who's involved in preparing classroom-based assessments and school-based assessments. So, for your information, CBA and SBA are both assessment methods used in the education system to evaluate students' learning and achievement. To start, can you briefly tell us or describe your role in preparing CBA and SBA at your school?
First of all, good evening to everyone. Besides being a teacher, I'm also examination secretary, a very big role in SBA especially. As for CBA, I'm involved in make things ready for my students' performance according to the curriculum guideline. And I also focus on the formative assessment in the classroom, where in CBA I can monitor them progress, regular progress. And then for the SBA, basically we are preparing them for the final examination. So it is actually we have to review what our students ready for the exam. It reflects what they have learned throughout the year.
I see there is a difference between CBA and SBA. In your opinion, what are the main difference you have noticed between these two?
For me, CBA is more on the ongoing process where we can really focus on our students' achievement gradually throughout the year. And we can also repeat what we have done with them in order for them to get what we taught in the class. Okay, as for SBA is more on a broader scope because we are testing our students towards the end of the year. Or maybe some schools, they prepare it twice a year. That's how SBA conducted. And it is actually more on students' overall performance after we train them for the as CBA. So SBA is the overall. That is my personal opinion about it.
So I can see here CBA we can see just like ujian awal tahun just to check their performance. But SBA is more like SPM, ujian akhir tahun, UASA. Then how do you apply CBA in your teaching? Can you share any strategies or technique you use to ensure its effectiveness?
I'm not sure whether this is really effective, but as for me, I like to give them some quizzes. Let's say for me, as I'm teaching English, after I'm teaching them some part of the grammar method, for example, I will ask them to answer some questions or quizzes, and then I will evaluate whether they really understand it or not. That is one thing for individual achievement. And as for group assessment, I will give them some simple activities so that I can monitor their progress while they're doing the project. And then I will ask them to present in front of the class so that we know how they understand about the topic we taught them for the day or maybe for the week.
If you don't mind me asking, if you were to compare between these two, which one is more requires a lot of your effort? Yes.
For CBA, I think it is a bit tedious because we have to prepare things according to the topic that we taught. Okay, so we need to really focus on what we want to achieve in the class. And if the students not achieve it, so we need to repeat. And then we have to make it simpler so that it's able to understand what we taught in the class and they're able to understand what they learned in the class. And as for SBA, basically it is not that tedious for us because we have a lot of references. Okay, so we can make up questions, but still it is according to our curricular standards. But it is more on a student's part. Okay, basically students will feel more stressed when we tell them next week you are going to sit for an exam. So it feels like, wow, it's a big exam compared to what we did in the class for the CBA. They more easy to face the questions.
I can see that CBA really help you to monitor student progress. So in your experience, how does the CBA help track student progress compared to SBA? Do you usually record the quiz mark for them or you just make some reflection after the class?
Actually both we did. Okay, we actually record the progress. We have the template for recording, and also we do reflection after the class. Okay, and then we discuss. For example, if not many of the students are able to perform the task, we will repeat the lesson or tell them what actually they need to do. That is actually what we did to monitor their progress. So CBA is, in easy way, we can say that it is more friendly. Okay, it's friendlier because students will feel ease if we repeating the same thing and help them to understand better rather than for the SBA. If we compare to SBA, they have to face it at the end of the maybe twice a year, right? The PPT or maybe at when we attempt in the USR. So for SBA students basically have more time to prepare because it is a big exam compared to CBA. CBA we can monitor them progressively, okay, along the journey of understanding before they sit for the SBA.
Before we move forward to the next content about implications of the CBA and SBA, I have do some research study from University Pendidikan Sultan Idris. The research is about the impact of classroom-based assessment (CBA) implementation on the performance for B40 preschool and primary school students. In this study, CBA assessment is seen as fair assessment in which the performance of B40 students is comparable to non-B40 students. So they are bringing the achievement gap between these two groups. So, in your school, Teacher Maziah, what impact have you noticed on student academic performance due to the implementation of CBA?
Okay, as for me personally, I think their performance is much better compared to SBA where they have to sit for the exam solely. Okay, for CBA, since we did it continuously in class, maybe after 1 week when we finish the topic, or maybe after 1 month, and then we give them some tests, okay, they are progressing well. So it shows to us that they really show their progress compared to if they just only sit the big exam. That is what we can see. And then in terms of their they are more confident. Their self-esteem, it is better. For example, when we ask them, let's say we are doing speaking, right? Majority, especially in Malay school, students don't like to speak, especially in English. So what I did is, so as for me, in order for me to make them perform their speaking, I asked them to send me their video reading something. That is for homework, for example. And then if they able to perform, some yes, but some they like to perform in class. For those who have already sent me their videos, I will give comment. And then they find out that, oh, I can do it. I can speak, I can read the poem. So they're more confident. So when I ask them to perform in the class, they excitedly, okay, teacher, I want. Okay. So it shows that CBA tell us that they are progressing. So at least boost their self-esteem just now. Okay, and also they not that really struggle. They feel it at ease. So not that to say all my students are good speaker, but at least they try.
So, I think CBA really affect their motivation and attitude so much better compared to SBA.
Right now, what challenges do students face with CBA and SBA? Like, do you see a very major difference in their performance?
For this end of year, right? I can see that for the lower secondary students, right now they perform better in SBA, which I felt that, wow, suddenly my students perform better in their exam. Why? What happened, right? So I think it is since we do it in class progressively, make them understand better, so they show their SBA performance also better. Okay, that is what actually they face. So I think at the end of the day, students more relaxed to face the real exam. So for me, I also teaching Form 5. As for my Form 5 students, in class, when they I ask them to perform their speaking, they quite reluctant to speak in the class. They say that, alah teacher tak mau lah, malu nak nanti kawan complain, I'm not good. But when we perform the real speaking test, where they have to be into partner and face the teacher only, they really perform it better. So it's, for me, though the students not that at ease to do the speaking activity in the class, but when we do it at the end of the year, for now they are sitting for the SPM next week, right? For the speaking, I really hope that what they did in trial exam, which is better. Hope they did perform well in the real SPM. That I really prayed for it. Okay. So I think they are not
Oh.
stressful now because we have give them ample exercise and also progress in the class. But it's not easy.
So
Okay, not all participative enough, but we have to do it in the class. It will help.
and CBA is somehow correlated in
Yes, definitely.
their results. Like that's when you see that.
I believe as an educator, you are not excluded from having challenges or concerns that worried you. So, we all would love to hear about your personal experience about the challenges when you face when preparing or implementing CBA in your classroom.
Yeah,
Anything challenges you
definitely.
face?
Okay, there are challenges. Okay, anything that we face in this world, there are challenges, right? So as CBA, the most challenging part is the time. Okay, we need a lot of time to prepare for the continuously assessment that we need to perform in the class. So every topic we need to prepare the quizzes, the group work, or the project that we need them to perform in the class. So it's quite time consuming. But it is easier now because we also have some references, not some, but many actually. We can go online, okay, find the online assessment. Okay, we can have that to help us. But we need to focus on the progress that we want to see in our students. So we have to see the material first, and then we adapt it with our students' level. That is the first challenge. And of course, definitely, we need to have a lot of resources because sometimes we think that one of what we have planned will immediately give the assessment, better assessment, but it is not that way. Sometimes we have to improvise what we have planned, and then we need to have more resources so that students able to understand what we are trying them to get the results. Okay, in order for them to achieve what we have targeted for the standards curricula. So that is for the CBA lah. Okay, and as for SBA, okay, SBA is more, what can we say? It is I think it is more flexible because we can incorporate everything at the end of the year. Okay, so we just produce something, and then we test them. So the outcome is there, right? So if it is not achieved what we have, sometimes students not perform well in their exam, right? So we come back to our CBA. So CBA tu akan menentukan lah, okay, setakat mana pelajar tu dah boleh ready for the exam. And then I can see that SBA is more stressful in students' part. Okay, because they have to face it, right? As for CBA, it's more on us as a teacher because we have to prepare everything in order to see the progress. For SBA, it is more on them. Okay, the pressure is on them. So they have to think back what they have learned and they have to perform it at the end of on the day itself. That is the difference between CBA and also SBA in terms of the challenge.
Okay, it's really concerned me on how do you balance the workload of preparing CBE and SBA assessment while ensuring that students receive the support they need.
Yeah, CBA more on us. So what we can do is actually the colleague actually should help each other. Okay, that is the most important part of it lah for CBA because sometimes what we have done it is good for our students but not for our colleague. So our colleague can improvise what we have prepared so they can use it back in their class. Helping each other as a team is actually a good way to overcome the pressure that we face when preparing for the CBA. That is my personal view of the what you say that it is a balancing, right? I can see that most young teachers, they feel like quite stressful when preparing a lot of things before they come to the class. As for me, I don't feel that stress, but I'm really stressful when my students cannot perform. So actually, we need to enjoy what we need.
So apa pun nak jadi teachers ni passion tu penting kan, dia bukan
Yeah,
dia,
that's really true.
So yeah, have you ever had like the feeling of, oh, I put in so much of effort into preparing all this for my students and I'm not getting the outcome that I wanted? Have you ever felt frustrated over this situation?
Yeah, sometimes yes, that is normal. As a human being, we are feeling frustrated, especially we feel that we do a lot of things for them, but the outcome is not as we targeted. But we need to mentally prepare that they are also human beings. And they're still kids, so they need a lot of time to progress. Sebab kematangan budak-budak kita ni berbeza. Okay, ada yang cepat, ada yang lambat. Really, we need to be open-minded. That is how I look at my students. Though I'm frustrated, I try to find something else so that I can make myself happy and my students is also happy.
Okay, what I can see is CBA and SBA align with the learning objective and assess skill like critical thinking, creativity, and real-life application. Do you think any adjustment are needed in their implementation?
I'm not sure what to adjust. It's just that we need to prepare things, but sometimes what we have prepared, we can use it regularly, but sometimes we have to improvise. So, I think it is not that difficult to align with what we want to achieve. Kita lah, we have to adjust ourselves. Yeah, we have to go along
Depends on the
with
situation.
our students. Sometimes we have to lower our understanding until their level. That is what I did. Kalau dia orang nak main-main, kita main-main lah dengan dia orang. If we get angry, they really surprised. Then they know, oh, teacher tengah marah. So we need to do seriously what teacher asks. And then they will go along with us. Dia sebenarnya cara kita lah, how we approach them. That is actually, but through experience, we know how to deal with them.
So I think we can move on to the final thoughts. So how do you think classroom assessment, CBA and SBA, impact students' success? I think this closely relates to whatever that you have answered earlier, but there is anything else that you can add more to this? What improvements would you suggest for CBA and SBA to better support students learning in your teaching?
That is the most important thing. Yeah, we need to have a lot of resources, and sometimes we also need some training in order for us to prepare things that is actually aligned with our curriculum standards. Okay? So a lot of resources, prepare mentally, physically towards what you're going to do. Not much on the financially. In school, we have a lot of resources that come in hand. Sometimes, especially for reference book, right? There are many reference books available in the market, but sometimes the supplier come to us. So in our part is just to check whether it is suitable for our students. So in terms of resources, it's not much problem. And furthermore, we have online, okay, we have YouTube, we have Delima, okay, there are a lot of resources there which we can use with our students. Just that we have to really make sure that what we have is aligned with our students' level. Kalau tak tercapai lah objektif kan. So we have to really look at what the objective that we want to achieve and we prepare something that align with the objective.
Tapi betul lah, memang bila dah jadi cikgu tu, benda tu datang sendiri kan, macam mana kita nak tolong dia. Dia apa-apa memang minat lah.
Yes. It will inspire you. The inspiration will come to you. I think it is a really good teacher. They really need more effort and time to be a very good teacher. Sometimes, what I can see here, not really much on when we are with our students. The more serious challenge is actually from the earth. So they really want us to focus on certain things. Tapi nanti kan ini tak boleh. And then we have to face that, right? Then after sometimes they change. Then again we have to change ourselves to go along with what they have decided. That is actually the challenge that we are going to face. Benda tu memang akan berlaku lah. As for me, I dah 25 years, almost 4 times of changes. As for English now, CEFR. Lagi lah kan. But actually, when it comes to CEFR, rasanya lebih baik. Students perform better for the CEFR. Helping them. Compared to previously, they are really struggled in order for them to achieve good results in SPM. But for latest ni, saya rasa lebih baik. When they pecahkan pada 4 skill, right? They have listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Dia dah macam muat tapi simpler. Dari situ kita nampak, it really helps them to improve. Each of skill tu 25%. So, accumulated into 100%. CBA tu really help them, especially for me as an English teacher, really help them to progress in their class and then show the results in their SPM or UASA. I agree on that. CBA helping them perform better in SBA.
Okay, I think we have gotten a lot more than we asked. It's actually very nice that we don't have to explain ourselves so much, but we still get our answers. Thank you so much, Maziah, for sharing with us your valuable insights and mostly your perspective on the roles of CBA and SBA. And it's been extremely helpful for us to even understand how these assessments work and how they actually better support students in learning and simply succeeding in their learning journey.